Let's say you have an interview tomorrow. It can be a data analyst role, data scientist role, machine learning role, or data engineer role. You know what's going to be common? You're going to be anxious and confused about what kind of questions they're going to ask in tomorrow's interview. I understand. It's normal to feel that way. Though you have been learning this for years, we really don't know what they're going to ask in tomorrow's interview, right? Or do we? Yeah, that's what we are going to see in this video. This video is sponsored by ChatGPT. I wish it is, because we are going to use just one tool, which is ChatGPT, to prepare for our interviews the most fastest way. Without any delay, let's get started. I'm going to divide this video into 4 steps. The first step is going to be about how to prepare the intro. Step 2, how to tackle project or experience based questions. Step 3, how to crack the technical questions. Step 4, how to answer those behavioral questions. So let's start with step 1. Every interview starts with an intro. Personally, I think this is the most important part of the resume, because that's where you're gonna give your first impression, and you have to make sure that that is the best impression. So whenever the hiring manager asks the question, introduce yourself or tell me about yourself, I've seen a lot of people who have a standard template that they'll follow. They'll start from the school. These are the projects that I did. This is the experience I had, and it'll be like a long 5-minute intro, which is very standard, and they're gonna use that standard message for every company. But that's not the right way to do it. The purpose for the hiring manager to ask for an intro is basically asking you, can you highlight the most important points or most important projects or your experience that you have? Don't make it like a lengthy speech. You have to give it like a personal intro. What do I mean by personal or personalized intro? It has to completely 100% align with the job description that you are interviewing for. So if you ask me, Hari, don't confuse me. How am I gonna give a personalized intro for every company that I interview for? So that's why you are here. I'm gonna help you to do that using ChatGPT. So these are the steps that you're gonna follow. So this is what you're gonna do. Take the job description in one tab, take your resume in another tab, and go to ChatGPT, and you're gonna give this prompt. You're gonna say, this is the job description, and copy the job description that you are interviewing for and insert it here. Next prompt is, this is my resume, copy your entire resume and put it here, and you're gonna ask ChatGPT to give a personalized intro. I have an interview with this company. Find the common points between the job description and my previous experience. Now, ChatGPT is gonna give a detailed list of all the common points between your job description and the resume that you have prepared. Now, it's time for you to identify the key common points between these two. Let's say the job description is asking you for NLP and you have done an NLP project. Take a note of it. Let's say the job description prefers someone who has an experience in finance field and you have that. You have to take a note of it. Take a note of all the key common points between your resume and the job description. Following that, now you're gonna prepare a personalized intro for that particular company, for that particular interview. You're gonna ask ChatGPT to do that. Prepare a short introduction for me during the interview. Make sure it's in a conversational tone. Give it within 150 words. So the reason I'm telling this is, you don't want to make it like a theoretical explanation. You want it to be a conversational tone. I'm just gonna get a template from ChatGPT. You don't have to follow the entire thing, but it's gonna help you to write that first draft. And the reason that I'm asking for 150 words is because hiring manager doesn't have time to listen to the entire speech I'm gonna give just for the first question about your intro. So make sure it is short and simple and right to the point. And you can always say, this is a brief intro about myself. If you have any questions about particular sections of it, you can ask any follow-up questions, happy to answer. And that's what they are gonna do. That's the step 2. But for the step 1, you're gonna prepare a short speech. The entire focus of the speech is you trying to convince the hiring manager that I am the right fit for the role that I applied for, and you're not wasting your time interviewing me. And you wanna hear a secret tip about having a personalized intro? You are telling the hiring manager about what kind of follow-up questions he should ask. Now he has his resume in hand. Even he is confused, like what kind of questions I can ask. With a short intro, you are telling the hiring manager, these are the key points in my resume. You can ask questions about these key points in the resume. So it's gonna follow with step 2, where hiring manager is gonna ask follow-up questions based on your intro. So the step 2 is gonna be your project or experience-based questions. So you have given a personalized intro to the hiring manager. The hiring manager is impressed because you are a right fit for the role. There is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is you got his interest. Now he is really interested to ask a lot of questions to you. But the bad part is you aligned your experience with the job description so much, which means it is hiring manager's forte. He is hiring for a role asking for a person to have so and so skills, which means he also has those skills. Now you should be ready to answer those questions to prove that you're not bullshitting here. And this is the most important step, because let's say you can't prove your experience or the projects that you have done properly, you might leave a wrong impression to the hiring manager that you're not even interested in the work that you have done in the past. So this step is all about making sure that you are good enough to answer questions that are gonna come from your resume. But how to check that? So this is the most easiest step. Again, go to ChatGPT, copy your entire resume and paste it here. Give a prompt saying that this is my resume. Give me a list of 5 interview questions that can be asked for each section. Just give me the commonly asked technical questions. So I've given all these prompts in the description. You can watch this video, take a note of it, and you can always download my prompt guide and use it later. Coming back to the topic, now this prompt is gonna generate 5 interview questions for each section inside your resume. Now the task for you is go through all these questions step by step. Since you have done these projects, these questions are something that you have worked on in your previous roles, you should be able to answer these questions. Just go through, iterate through all these questions and try to give an answer for these questions. Take a piece of paper, write some bullet points explaining these are the answers, so that you can always refer to those bullet points later. Let's say you don't have an answer for one of these questions, no problem. In step 3, we're going to discuss about how to prepare technical questions. In step 2, hiring manager is asking you a lot of follow-up questions based on your resume. He's going to point out what did you do here, why did you use this machine learning model, how did you do this dashboard, and so and so. If you explain everything, your thought process, why you did that, what's the impact of doing that, you have convinced the hiring manager already. And always put the hiring manager in the curiosity loop. Whenever he asks for a question, always put him in a curiosity loop that he should ask follow-up questions from the answer that you give. Because the good part about that is, you might not even go to the technical questions that he prepared for. He might be curious enough to know all the answers that you're going to give for your experience and projects, which is easy for you because you have worked on it, and the interview is going to end in half an hour or 1 hour after that. Going forward to step 3, technical questions. How to prepare for technical questions in the data industry. So if you go to YouTube and search for data science interview questions, most probably you're gonna get 50 questions. Is that enough to prepare for your interview? Are you sure that you're gonna get those 50 questions in the interview? It can be 50, 100 or 1000. Still, how sure you can say that you're gonna get those questions in the interview? It's a complicated thing, so we can't predict at all, right? No. If you think intuitively, what kind of questions do you think the hiring manager is gonna ask? Most probably the technical questions based on the projects that he is working on right now, or based on what the job role that he's hiring for requires, right? It's not so difficult to predict what kind of technical questions you can expect in the interview. How to do that? Let me show you how. So you're gonna do this. You're gonna go through the entire job description and you're gonna find the key terminologies from the job description. For example, let's say you see something called NLP, take a piece of paper, take a note of it. You see something called A/B testing, take a piece of paper and take a note of it. And then you're gonna go to LinkedIn and go to the hiring manager's profile on LinkedIn. By now, you have an interview, which means you have his email ID and you have his name. You know who's gonna interview you. Just go to LinkedIn, go to hiring manager's profile and go to the experience section and go to the current role that they are working on. So now they would have provided a short description on what they are working on in the current role. And it doesn't have to be the hiring manager interview. Even if you're interviewing with a senior data scientist, go to his profile and look for this description that he is working on. Try to find the key data terminologies from this description that they provided. Let's say you see something called computer vision, take a note of it. Let's say you see something called time series analytics, take a note of it. Just try to find all the key metrics and have a list of all the key metrics. This is what I did to get my first job. I kind of predicted like 95% of the questions that I'm gonna get in the interview, and that's what I got. Now you're gonna prepare for the technical questions that you're gonna get from those technologies. If you're not familiar with any of these technologies, it's fine. That's what we're gonna see now. It's so easy to learn. You're gonna use something called 80-20 rule, also known as Pareto principle. I got to know about this learning strategy from one of my friends, Ayush. So the concept behind this principle is 80% of the outcomes come from 20% of the inputs or efforts. So what I mean by that is you're gonna put 20% of your time and effort to learn 80% of some particular technology. How is that possible? Again, ChatGPT is our friend. We're gonna go to ChatGPT and ask how to utilize this 80-20 principle to learn all these technologies that we have. Now you're gonna iterate through the list that you have here. Go one by one and learn about these things, and you're gonna prepare for the technical interviews that might come from these. Let me take A/B testing for example. So I'm gonna go to ChatGPT and I'm gonna give this prompt. I'm trying to learn A/B testing. Use the 80-20 rule to help me understand this topic. I should understand 80% of what A/B testing is with 20% of my time and effort. Make it simple. Now, ChatGPT is gonna give you a short explanation about A/B testing. Even if you're not familiar with A/B testing at all, you're gonna get an idea of what it is. Now, look through it, try to understand what A/B testing is. Once you understand what A/B testing is, now you're gonna ask a follow-up question to ChatGPT. What are all the commonly asked questions in A/B testing in an interview? Give me a list of 10 questions. Now ChatGPT is gonna generate 10 commonly asked technical interview questions for A/B testing. Based on the information that you've learned, try to answer these questions. Most probably, don't worry if you can't answer these questions, because anyway, you didn't learn the 100% of A/B testing. You just understood the basic concept of A/B testing. It might be difficult to answer all 10 questions in one go, but this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna ask ChatGPT to give answers for those questions. Can you give me short answers for these questions? And it's gonna give answers for all the 20 questions. Now go through all these questions, try to understand, make sure if you understand the entire concept, it's a good thing. Let's say you don't understand any one of these things. For example, I'm not sure what p-value is over here. In that case, how to dive deep into it? Just copy this question, put it in ChatGPT again. So follow the 80-20 rule to learn more about p-value, and repeat this process in a loop again and again till you're confident enough that you are an expert in A/B testing. So once this is done, once you are confident in one step, go to the list that you have in hand and iterate through the entire list and make sure you learn all the key technologies that you noted. Following this, I'm pretty sure that you've already predicted what kind of questions that you're gonna get, and you're also prepared for those technical questions, and you're gonna crack all the technical questions on spot. Finally comes step 4, how to answer behavioral questions. A lot of people think this is the most easiest thing, right? Because you're not gonna prepare for anything. But I don't agree with that. I would say this is the most difficult round of the interview. Even for technical questions, there is a definite answer for the question that the interviewer is asking you. But for a behavioral question, there is no right answer. You're evaluated based on what kind of answer you provide. And you have to be spontaneous to give an answer for these. And you have to give an answer from your previous experience, which is not gonna be easy if you don't prepare for it and go blank to the interview. So this is what you're gonna do to prepare for the behavioral interview. Again, go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give me a list of 10 commonly asked behavioral questions for data science interviews. It's gonna give you 10 commonly asked questions. Now try to answer these on spot. you understand why I'm saying this is the most difficult one. It's not so easy to come up with answers for these. We can use ChatGPT to come up with answer for these. Again, go to ChatGPT and ask a follow-up question. First thing, go to your resume, copy the entire project section and experience section of your resume, put it in ChatGPT, and then ask ChatGPT using STAR method, give personalized answer for these 10 questions. For all those 10 questions, ChatGPT is gonna give you answers, personalized answers based on your resume. STAR method is nothing but situation, task, action, result. For every behavioral question, you can use this template to give an answer easily. You don't have to mention situation, task or something, just go with the flow. But what each section means here is, situation is nothing but this is what my situation was. 2 years back, I did something, this was the situation. This is the task that was given to me. For example, they asked me to, the situation was the models are not performing well, and the task that was given to me is to improve the models, and the action I took is I used so and so algorithm, and the result is the model has improved by 30%. So this is what the STAR method is, and you can use the STAR method to answer these behavioral questions easily. But here ChatGPT has done the work for you. It has used the STAR method to give personalized answer for all those commonly asked behavioral questions. Skim through all these things, try to understand how to answer these behavioral questions if they ask these questions in the interview. It's not done yet. Once this is done, take a piece of paper or open Google Docs. Now copy each section from your resume, every experience that you have, every project that you did, write it down on a piece of paper. The task for you over here is, now you're gonna write the challenges that you faced when you're working for that project or when you're working in that role. Just come up with 2 challenges that you face in that particular role. Just write some bullet points and take a note of it. The reason I'm saying this is, most probably the behavioral question is going to be about some kind of challenge. It can be an argument with the manager, it can be a project that never went into production or something. So if you take a note of it, when you get this behavioral question during the interview, now your mind can quickly go to the point that you've written, and you can easily grab an example for that question. So the difficult part is getting an example to answer the question. Once you have an example, you use the STAR method, structure an answer for it, and give an answer right away. Finally, the interview is not done yet. Personally, I recommend you to always finish the interview with 2 questions. People think that they say ask questions in the interview to prove that you're smart or intelligent or something. Not really. We think we are the only people who are desperate to get the job. But the truth is, even for the hiring manager, it's not so easy to get a candidate for the role that he's hiring for. The questions that you ask in the end of the interview is going to show that you're actually interested in this role. Because during the entire interview, it was the manager asking you the question and you're answering to those questions. There is no way for you to prove your interest for the particular role. If you ask some thoughtful questions about the role, about the manager, about the company, it can be anything. Just be curious and ask at least 2 thoughtful questions. This is going to give a comfort to the hiring manager that, okay, this candidate is actually interested for this role, because those were some thoughtful questions. If a person is not interested in the role, he doesn't have to ask for those. I'm sure this entire guide is going to be helpful to crack your next data interview. Check the description to get the prompts that I used in this video. Best of luck for your next interview.